You ever notice how the moment you mix the words AI and justice in the same sentence, people either get really excited or really uneasy? It's like flipping a coin. You never know which side you're going to get. And honestly, that reaction makes sense. We're talking about systems that decide people's futures, sometimes with the push of a button. So today, I want to walk you through something that's becoming a real crossroads for society: AI in criminal justice. Is it smart sentencing, or are we building smart injustice? Let me start with a simple hook. Imagine walking into a courtroom, and before the judge even looks at you, a computer has already predicted your future, your likelihood of committing another crime, how risky you are, and what your sentence should be. And the judge, trusting this system, leans heavily on that score. No conversation, no nuance, just data points from a machine that never met you. Now, stop for a second and ask yourself, do you feel safer, or do you feel a little uneasy? Because here's the thing, AI in criminal justice isn't some futuristic theory. It's already happening. Some places use algorithms to determine bail, some use predictive policing to decide where officers should patrol, and some even use systems to recommend sentencing. And depending on who you ask, this is either the smartest thing we've ever done or the most dangerous shortcut we've ever taken. Let's explore that tension, because it's important. On one hand, AI can process information faster than any judge or officer ever could. It doesn't get tired, it doesn't hold grudges, it doesn't show up to work in a bad mood. That part sounds good, right? A system that removes the emotional bias that humans carry, even when they don't mean to. But on the other hand, AI doesn't understand the human story. It can't see growth, remorse, struggle, or potential. All it knows is patterns. Patterns from the past, patterns from data. And here's the twist a lot of people forget. If the data it's trained on is flawed or biased or incomplete, well, the machine doesn't fix the problem, it amplifies it. Quietly and at scale. And that's where things start to get complicated. Let's break this down in a way that's simple and real. Think about a judge. A judge has years of experience, studies the law, deals with people daily, and listens to arguments from both sides. Now, judges aren't perfect, but they bring context. They can consider things like mental health, environment, genuine effort to change, unfair circumstances, and so on. A machine doesn't see that. You could be a person who made one mistake after a lifetime of trying their best, and the algorithm might still flag you as high risk because someone who lived in your neighborhood 10 years ago made similar mistakes. Do you see the problem? The machine isn't being evil, it's being literal. But life isn't literal. Life is messy. People are messy. And justice has to deal with things that aren't always logical on paper. Now, I want to share a little scenario with you. Imagine two people commit the same crime, same age, same background, same everything. But one lives in a neighborhood that historically had more arrests because of heavier policing. The other lives in an area where police rarely patrol. Now, the algorithm looks at the data and it sees this. People from the more heavily policed neighborhood have a higher predicted reoffense rate, not because the people are different, but because the level of policing was different. So, what does it do? It labels one person as high risk and the other as low risk. Same crime, same person on paper, different treatment. And suddenly, you don't have a justice system anymore, you have a prediction system. And predictions aren't neutral. This is where the conversation gets interesting, because when you talk to people who support AI-based sentencing, they'll tell you something like, it brings consistency. And sure, I get that. Humans are unpredictable. Two judges can look at the same case and give different rulings. That inconsistency bothers people. So AI offers structure. It offers uniformity. But here's my question. Do you want consistent injustice or inconsistent humanity? Take a moment and sit with that. Because if a system consistently delivers decisions based on flawed assumptions, it might be worse than human inconsistency. With humans, at least you can appeal, argue, reason. With algorithms, there's no face to question, no heart to speak to, just a sealed mathematical box. Let me tell you something else people don't realize. Even the most advanced AI models don't know why they make certain decisions. They just follow the statistical trail. So if someone asks, why was this person labeled high risk? The answer is often a frustrating shrug. The model can tell you the factors it weighed, but not the philosophy behind the choice, because there is none. It's not thinking in a moral sense, it's calculating. Now imagine your future being decided by something that can't explain itself. That should make everyone pause. But here's where things get even more tangled. Let's talk about predictive policing. AI systems that tell officers where crime is likely to occur. Sounds smart on paper, right? More efficient patrols, faster response times. But predictive policing can accidentally become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Here's how. If an area is labeled high risk, police patrol there more often. When more police show up somewhere, they catch more crime. Not because crime magically increased, but because they were there to see it. Then the new data gets fed back into the system, and guess what? It strengthens the prediction that this area is a hotspot. Meanwhile, other areas with less patrol might have crime happening too, but it goes unrecorded. So the AI isn't really predicting crime, it's predicting police presence. That's a huge difference. And the cycle keeps looping until the map is no longer a map of crime, it's a map of enforcement. This is why we have to be extremely careful with the tools we create. Once you place AI in criminal justice, you enter a world where mistakes don't just affect individuals, they affect entire communities. That's power. And power, without proper checks, becomes danger. Now, let's take a breath and look at the other side for a moment, because the goal here isn't to demonize AI. The truth is, AI can be useful in criminal justice if it's used with extreme caution and with humans firmly in charge. For example, AI can help sift through massive amounts of evidence, find inconsistencies in testimonies, detect patterns of police misconduct, or identify wrongful convictions. Those are powerful positives. But here's the question that hangs over everything. Should AI ever have the authority to influence someone's sentence? And my answer is simple. Not unless we fully understand what it's doing, and not unless we have humans overseeing every decision with complete transparency. Because sentencing isn't a calculation, it's a judgment. It requires empathy. It requires understanding the human condition. It requires balancing harm with potential for change. A machine can't do that. It wasn't designed for that. Let me ask you something. Have you ever done something that looked bad on paper but made perfect sense in the moment? Maybe you had to defend yourself. Maybe you were desperate. Maybe you were trying to protect someone. Now imagine a machine analyzing that moment, but it can't feel your fear, your urgency, your intention. It just sees risk. It just sees data. That's not justice. That's an automated guess. Now, I know some people say, well, humans make mistakes too. And they're right, humans do. But the difference is, humans can learn. A judge can reflect. A judge can change over time. A judge can revisit their own biases. An AI model? It can only reflect the data it was given. And if that data is wrong, every output it generates is a polished version of that wrongness. You know, I always say this, data is a mirror, not a solution. Whatever you point it at, it amplifies. And if the mirror is cracked, the reflection is too. So here's where I want to bring you into the conversation. When you think about fairness, what does that mean to you? Is it equal treatment? Is it understanding context? Is it second chances? Because AI isn't built to understand any of these ideas unless we deliberately design it to. And even then, it can only approximate fairness, not feel it. That's why this conversation matters. We're not just talking about software, we're
We're talking about the values we want our justice system to uphold as the world becomes more automated. Technology shouldn't bend those values. It should support them. But right now, in many places, AI is being introduced faster than it's being understood. And that's what worries me. We're building tools that can shape people's entire lives, and we're doing it with a level of confidence that, honestly, feels a little rushed. But here's what keeps me hopeful. Conversations like this. Because the fact that you're even listening to this episode means you care about the direction things are heading. And that's where change begins. With awareness, with questioning the systems we build, with refusing to blindly trust anything just because it has the word smart in front of it. Now, in the next half of this episode, I'm going to walk you deeper into this idea, how AI sentencing actually works, what smart injustice looks